Hello everyone and welcome to Games, Comics and Crafts. In this series of videos I'll be looking at the Judge Dredd case files in order and picking out the most prominent and important stories, as well as noting some artists and writers that actually appear in these books. Okay, so I've been buying 2000 AD probably now for about 35 years. I bought all the 2000 AD monthly stuff and kind of all the reprints for the Dredd stuff. So when they announced the case files, I don't need to get those. I've got pretty much everything. This is about 20 books into it, I think it was, by the time I kind of looked into it a bit more interesting, and realised they've started doing the magazine stuff, which I had some of, but not a lot of. So I decided I'd pick up the first case file, see what it's like. This is why my copy is a slightly bad eBay copy. Um, and they're great. Number one is because they collect everything together. Number two, it means I haven't got to dig through 1,000 issues of 2000 AD or whatever to try and find anything if I need it. So I'm here to talk about what stories I think are important or interesting, or just highlight artwork or writers or anything during these case files. Obviously starting off with case file number one. So case file number one is okay. It's not the best collection of them so far. It's obviously the very first appearance of Dredd, set in 2099, whereas in New York rather than Mega City 1, although it's later kind of revealed that that New York is part of Mega City 1, so that kind of makes some sense. The early issue stories are literally crime of the day, so they'll think of a cool crime, they'll Dredd will solve it mostly the time by killing the bad guys off, and it's kind of like lots of action, and the law never forgets kind of thing, all this kind of stuff at the end of each issue. Um, they're good, they're functional, but it's kind of lots and lots of world building stuff, and you obviously get to see a lot of characters that are in Dredd still around nowadays. Maria and what with the robot, and the other chief judges and all this kind of stuff. Um, Obviously, what other people might not know is that a lot of all the Judge Dredd stuff is aged in real time. So Dredd is 80, 90 years old now, I think, but he's had a couple of de-aging processes on him and a few others. So the 2099 stuff is kind of still relevant. We haven't got any reboots. We haven't this one continuous Dredd story. So you can see all this kind of cool stuff that may or may not exist in stuff, because Mega City 1's had a few catastrophes over time. Anyway, so yeah, first couple. Okay, and it's just enough. Dredd takes his helmet off in one of the issues, and it's censored, and it's so horrible that they have to kill him because he shouldn't be allowed to live. What's Dredd's face looks like, who knows? Anyway, right. So by the time we get past that, we get to the first kind of important multi-story arc, which is the Robot Wars. It starts off fairly low key. There's a robot that goes rogue. That's it, and then it kind of builds up into a complete revolution of the robots that try and take over Mega City 1. Presumably a couple of months later. You've got the heavy metal kids in here, which are these giant construction robots, which I absolutely love the designs of, and they're absolutely fantastic. And basically, Dredd managed to put that down. It's a very nice storyline. It's got some really nice artwork in it, including some Ian Gibson artwork there, I believe, who recently died, unfortunately. So it's nice to see that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's kind of the first epic, as it were, of the series. So that kind of goes on for a little bit longer. It's like 6 issues, 7 issues. And then we're back to kind of the single issue style crime of the day stuff. Max Norman introduced, a couple of other characters that are introduced on these little things. Dredd's costume kind of wildly varies between who's drawing him, but there's a kind of some consistency. They haven't kind of got the default look to him just yet. And I think by the time we get, You Bet Your Life's pretty good. It's got a couple of 3-4 parts in that one. But nothing really stands out in these kind of really early Dredd days. They're okay, but they're not fantastic. What have we got here? Devil's Island. Yeah, Devil's Island's a really good story as well. With the traffic island in the middle of the roads that stops people from escaping because of constant traffic going around. But But yeah, say it's more to do with kind of like these early days of the artists rather than that you're seeing their early artwork rather than the actual stories themselves. We get to this later in issue. We have some of the very first. I believe this is Brian Bolland, unless I'm very mistaken. This looks like Brian Bolland to me. Some of the first Bolland stuff, very early Bolland stuff. His Dredd is okay, but his Dredd looks a lot better later on. Lunar 1, Dredd basically goes to out of Mega City 1 and goes to the moon. Then we get to see Texas City, Sov Block, and Mega City 2 judges on the Lunar 1 stuff. So this kind of removes him from his original placement on Mega City 1. And again, we're only a year, maybe a year and a half, 18 months into the Dredd stories, and they've kind of all removed him from Mega City 1. So whether or not it was kind of signed that we need to kind of rebrand this, I don't know. But that carries on for quite a while. With the introduction of all these new judges, we get to see the kind of the seeds of the Apocalypse War being planted because the soft judges are in here. Once again, we're on some lovely Brian Bolland artwork. More Ian Gibson artwork, I believe, there. More Bolland artwork, which is the Lunar Olympic, which is pretty damn good. Which is the first kind of problems with the Apocalypse War starting on. This is one of my favourites. This is the face change machine, which basically gives all the criminals changed their faces to escape justice by making them look like old-time comedians. So we've got Lauren Hardy there and a few others from the Marx Brothers, which I think was just Bolland. Well, I think Bolland really enjoyed drawing these characters as these things. And then we get this one guy here who's Dredd intervenes and basically comes along, and it turns out that Dredd uses the face change machine on himself, and that's the only time we really see Dredd's face, because everyone thought this is Dredd. It's not Dredd's face, strange, but it's pretty cool. I think we've got Killer Car on some right. Lunar 1. Lunar 1, I don't think you don't see much of Lunar 1 nowadays. It's quite strange. I don't know if it blows up or something later on, but it's a possibility they might have it destroyed. But yeah, it's good stuff. And then he goes back to Mega City 1, and we start seeing a little bit more groundwork put into some of the larger stories as they come along. And with the next volume being The Cursed Earth, which is again a massive storyline that has ties back to lots of media, and the role-playing game uses it quite a lot. It's a very important storyline, but that's in the next issue. At the back of this book we get some kind of offshoots of some an unused Dredd story here that kind of predates issue 1. We get a picture of Mega City 1 which wasn't originally used because obviously it was New York, so this is kind of Mega City 1's design. So this is what Mega City 1 turns out to look like when it actually gets to Mega City 1. Then get some Walter the Robot shorts, which are kind of in the back covers of the Dredd stuff, which has got some really nice artwork in it as well. This is all Bond artwork all the way through, and then obviously you get some nice colour covers. Not colour covers, because we have black and white in these volumes. But yeah, all in all, volume 1 is okay. It's not like essential reading. If you want to read to see the very first starts of Dredd, then it's definitely worth looking at. But later volumes are much more important and have much better stories, and the artwork is also very good as well. But we'll go for those obviously at some point in time and get to those, and we'll pick those stories out, and I will inform you how they are going. So hopefully you took some interest in this thing. I would say, if you're interested in the early Dredd stuff, have a look. If not, pick up the later volumes, although my collective ability would not allow me to have volume 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 without volume 1, 2 and 3. So that's just me though. But you can probably, I think some of these you can pick up in trades, but I think this is the most convenient and easiest way of picking up Dredd stuff. So I would definitely suggest this is the way to go. So that's all for this video. I will hopefully see you on the next video, and we'll be talking about volume 2 and hopefully some more comic reviews after that once they all arrive, and I will see you then. Bye bye.